Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A, an interview with the one and only Matt Gustafson about the book, The Call of the Wild. It's a pretty good book, so this is going to be interesting. Very interesting.
Indeed.
Very interesting. Okay, Matt, first question. What happens in chapter 1?
Well, in chapter 1, Buck, the main character, he's living the good life, in California, but then out of the blue he gets dog-napped and taken to some dog dealers, and basically he gets sold to them, and yeah, that's basically what happens.
Gets sold, doesn't have a good time.
Yeah.
Does not have a good time
He doesn't
whatsoever.
have a good time.
No. So Matt, what does Buck do in chapter 2?
Well, in chapter 2, Buck meets some new dogs. They teach him how to kind of fit in. They teach him how to be on the sled team, and they bite him a little bit, but all it really does is just yell out like friendly little yelps, and that basically concludes chapter 2.
Yep. Very interesting chapter.
You said whelps.
Yeah. This is where Buck
Little.
learns the ropes. He knows what's going on now. He knows what the sled team is all about. He knows that they mean business.
Yeah.
They mean business. So Matt, chapter 3, what happens in it? Because I know, for me at least, this is one of the chapters that is always on my mind because a lot of stuff happens in chapter 3. So tell me more.
So basically, Buck, he just becomes straight savage. There's this kind of like the dog leader named Spitz, and basically they get in a fight. Buck ends up breaking Spitz's legs, and he actually ends up killing Spitz and become the pack leader. And then later on, he just gets kind of like played out, and yeah.
Straight savage.
Straight savage. Just
Buck
like,
is straight savage. Okay, chapter 4. Very interesting. It's a very interesting chapter here. Chapter 4. Tell me all about chapter 4, all of your knowledge. What's on the tip of your head? I want to know.
So
Tell me.
basically, Buck was being two devils. When he came back to camp, everyone found out that he was covered in like bruises and scratches, and basically they came to the conclusion that he had killed Spitz, the alpha dog. And basically after that, he kind of got treated a little bit more fairly, and he actually kind of tried to abuse his power and try to become like overtake every alpha dog, and that didn't work so well. The dog just ended up chasing him, and the people from the camp hit him with a bat and stuff, and yeah, it concludes chapter, what is it, 4?
4. Yes, chapter 4. So Matt, chapter 5, we're at the tippy top almost of our rising action, and so tell me more about the tippy top of the rising action.
So basically, there's this new guy named Hal, and basically he kind of adopts all the dogs, and they move to a place called Skagway, and basically it is like, it's described as a soft seeing breezes place.
Type of place, yeah.
Yeah, and basically Hal attempts to spoil the dogs, and that doesn't go too well. He kind of just runs himself into the ground, and they go back to kind of normal, and Hal doesn't really take good care of them, and yeah, he kind of just failed at everything.
Yeah, and one thing that I think you forgot to mention, all of the dogs on their way to Skagway, they were all quivering. It was really cold, and it was just hard on all the dogs.
It was just not fun for them. Very harsh
not
conditions.
fun. Very harsh, yes. So we're coming down to the last chapters now. We are now on chapter 6. So this is really when the story starts to kind of take a downfall, kind of we're still seeing a lot of action, but this is where the story starts to take a turn for the worst, I guess, and things start to happen, and the story starts to end. So Matt, go ahead and tell everybody what happens in chapter 6.
Alright, so basically this guy named John Thornton, he kind of like adopts Buck, you could say.
Yeah.
And basically they kind of form like a tight bond, and he clutched Buck's trust, and Buck became so like loyal to him that John actually got mad, and he told Buck to jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
And to his amazement, Buck actually jumped off the cliff, and that just kind of proves that he was loyal. You know, he wasn't just like some other dog. He was loyal.
He was really loyal.
He was like homogeneous Calidius.
Yeah. John clutched. He really grabbed onto Buck's trust. They really formed a tight bond. And so when he actually saw that Buck had jumped off the cliff, his heart was shaken out of his body. It was a pretty tremendous and sad moment for everybody, dog and human alike. Okay, Matt, chapter 7. This is when we finally learn what Buck's destiny is and how his true behavior is and how he was meant to be. So go ahead, take it away. Tell us about the final chapter in The Call of the Wild.
So basically, in this chapter, Buck, at the very start, is still recovering from his injuries of his previous incident of falling off the cliff. Now, during this time of healing, John Thornton actually passes away because he is ambushed by Indians and killed by an arrow in the chest. Now, Buck is like, the life just gets stomped out of him from this incident, and he becomes so angry, I guess, that he like avenges John Thornton and kills all the Indians that killed John. And he felt a deep yearning even after the incident of John, like he missed him and everything. But one day, he was just at camp doing his normal stuff, and he saw this wolf. Now, it wasn't like a normal, like, just mind to yourself wolf. It was kind of just like a playful one, and he decided to follow it, and they had a good time. They played around and stuff. And from that day on, every, like, day, sometimes they would even spend, some days he would even spend, like, nights away from camp. He was just playing with the wolf, and eventually he would respond to the call of the wild, and more wolves came. It was like the wolf pack and him, and they kind of formed a family, and Buck eventually just left he left the camp completely and decided to live with the wolves, and that is kind of where the story ends. Buck just finds his place in the world, and
he never comes back to camp, and he lives with the wolves, and he is the leader of the pack. That's truly where he belongs. That's where he has had the time of his life.
Why are stories important?
Our stories are important because they let people know how others respond to certain actions.
This is the freaking conclusion.
The freaking conclusion, guys.
Freaking heavyweights.
I feel like if you go to the candy store and you buy some candy, you don't want the employee to get mad at you, and you gotta understand how they respond to certain actions. Yeah, we didn't plan this part out too well. I knew the essential question, but I felt like 10 seconds was not long enough. So I feel like we should have gone a little bit longer. So I tried to come up with something, but I didn't have much time to say so this is what I'm going off of now. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this movie that I made with Matt Gustafson arming the camera right now. We're gonna redo this. This is now in the bloopers. And I can literally just keep on talking forever and ever. This is like one of my talents.
We're gonna end it soon.
So I hope you guys had fun watching this movie. And if you didn't, then make sure to just give yourself a big pat on the back, because you are one of the people that did not enjoy this movie. And if you didn't enjoy this movie, then also go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back, because you enjoyed the movie. You enjoyed the movie. This is a great movie. This is a chill movie. All right, guys. Peace. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. Okay.
We need to redo it.